Our coverage of Liberty Volleyball continues here on LibertyFlames.com. Alan York joined by freshman Margaret Latchford. And Margaret, this team's 4-5 through the year so far. Before we talk about this season, let's talk about volleyball. What do you enjoy about the sport so much?
Just the team aspect to volleyball. There's, like in different sports, you can have one dominant player, but in volleyball you have to have at least 6 good players on the court who can come in and out and who support each other fully, because all it takes is one person with a negative attitude or to get stuck into themselves and the whole team goes down.
You're having a really good freshman year as the libero, and within that position, a lot of digs for you specifically in volleyball. Talk about that position, libero. Why is it important? What do you enjoy about playing about it?
Libero's pretty much the defensive captain of the team. And it's just an interesting role for me, especially as a freshman, to be able to come out and have a somewhat leadership role on the team. And just overall, it's directing the defense, making sure we're all in the places we're supposed to be, making sure the team stays cohesive and doesn't really get down on itself even when the games start getting tough, and just flying around and making plays and trying to impact the game any way you can.
I think all freshmen coming into college wanted to play a lot. Did you expect to get as much playing time here early on?
Not this much playing time, but it's a really nice experience, and it's a blessing to be able to come out and make an impact my freshman year.
You mentioned to me before we went on camera, you verbally committed to another school in the state, and you ended up here at Liberty. Things didn't work out before you signed with Liberty. So I think when you told me about hearing about Liberty and talking to Coach Pender and the coaches, that kind of sealed the deal for you. So what was it about Liberty when you finally got in touch with the Flames coaching staff that made you want to come here?
Just the personable aspect. And the first time we came on campus, a student came up to my mom's car window and just wished her a good morning and a blessed day. And that was huge just for us, because in other campuses that doesn't happen. Like, students look away from you and try to avoid talking to you as much as possible. And just being able to be in a community where Christ is the center and the focus, so even when something's not going well, you have that focus the entire time. You don't stray away from God during those years.
Margaret, we're about a month into classes. How do you like the campus? What are you studying? Give us an idea of off the court, what you're doing right now.
Off the court? Well, my major right now is exercise science. So I'm taking anatomy, my lab, and my lecture, and I absolutely love it. Just seeing how God designed the body and how everything works together for a purpose, kind of like a team does. And then I have my freshman classes, so I have biblical worldview, university, and those are really interesting just to see the Christian approach explained more thoroughly than what I've known before coming from a public school.
A lot of places to hang out on campus. If you're not playing volleyball, where do you study? Give me an idea of kind of where you're hanging out with your friends here on campus.
I actually like studying in the library. It's a really nice place. You can find different levels. So like if you wanted to talk to a friend, you can stay on the first or second level. But if you really want to just focus in and get something done, you can go to the third level where it's just complete peace and quiet and you focusing on your studies.
Yeah, it's a tremendous new building here on campus for
Absolutely.
sure. Who introduced you to volleyball? And do you remember the first couple of memories of playing the sport?
I actually started playing when I lived in Nebraska in 5th grade, and one of my school friends asked me to join the parochial team there with her at my private school, and from there it just kind of blossomed, and my mom found me a coach who said she would teach me everything about the game, and got private lessons and just learned from there and continued to love and grow in it, and it just stuck out of all the other sports I played.
We were talking about one of the last times you had a kill in a game. It doesn't happen often for a libero, but if you do have a kill, I mean, is there a favorite move in volleyball that players always love to have that dream play happen to them?
Dream play, especially for me, getting a kill is a huge thing because it doesn't happen very often. I'm sure like hitters and blockers getting a massive block, that just excites everyone on the court. I really love when it happens because I can just get into it and support my teammates the whole time. So overall, I think the biggest play for me is a block. Just it's a quick end to a play.
I would compare Margaret in your position maybe to a catcher blocking a ball in the dirt, or a basketball player who may not score a lot of points but is out there to rebound and play defense. So as a libero and getting that perfect dig, what does it take mentality-wise? What physical skills does it take to get a dig? And the mind frame of that's my role, that's what I want to excel in.
To get a dig, it's a lot more mental than physical in some aspects, especially when there's a heavy hitter kind of like Caroline coming at you. A bunch of times you just have to stick with it and say, well, I didn't get that one, but I'm going to get the next one. It's going to happen and it's going to be perfect. And when you do finally get that moment, it's magical and you just feel like on top of the world, like nice try, go again kind of thing.
Yep.
And just physically wise, getting to the ball and being set, which is something I still need to work on, but just getting there, getting set, and just the perfect, like, calm, poised setup of a libero when you get a dig.
With the exception of the opening tournament here, this team has had to grind it out on the road. You were a couple weeks ago out in Arizona. Team got to go to the Grand Canyon. Had you ever been there before?
No, I'd never been to the Grand Canyon before. It was a wonderful experience, but stayed away from the edges just to make sure we were safe.
How long were y'all there at the canyon?
In the canyon, we went for, I think, 3 hours and just went to different sites when we were there.
So this team's 4-5, back on the road again, coming up down to Virginia Tech this weekend. So give me an idea of kind of where this team is as we wrap this interview up.
This team, I think we're developing a lot more emotionally and mentally together. And so sometimes when it lapses, we'll start losing points during games, but we get it back together very quickly and rebound. And we're working on starting to finish matches and finishing sets and staying on top, which is a good thing to help us towards November. So right now we're more focused on learn what we can now, develop from it, grow from it, and then use it when we get to November and finish on top.
Peaking at the right time coming up here in a couple of weeks. So we appreciate the time, Margaret. Have a great rest of the season. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
That's freshman Margaret Latchford. Stay tuned to LibertyFlames.com for more Liberty volleyball action.